Good morning. So I'd like to say a few words about philos anthropos, philanthropy, the love of humanity. There was a story from Neem Karoli Baba about when they were having a darshan, a public darshan. And a darshan is where the teacher, the master, blesses the devotees in all kinds of ways. In his case, he gave them sweets a lot of the time. And anyway, it was a crowded throng, a lot of noise, a lot of hubbub. People were arriving from all over. The master was sitting there, sharing his sweets, his blessings, laughing, talking. And an old woman appeared, very, very poor, very bedraggled. And she came, and there was an altar where people were placing their offerings, whether they were food or sometimes they put, money and things they were giving to the teacher. And this little woman comes and she hobbles up, and she's almost destitute, it's clear. And she takes in her hand, her little wizened hand, she's got a scrumpled up 1 rupee note. She places it in the bowl, and then she moves away to the back of the room, bowing. And the master says, "Get that note. Bring me that note, that 1 rupee note." And if you know what a rupee is worth, in most countries it's worth nothing, next to nothing. In India in those days, 1 rupee is maybe enough to feed you for a few days. And so he takes this 1 rupee note and he gives it to one of the very wealthy Western devotees. He says, "You take this and you keep it forever and you look after it. It's precious." And he takes it, he puts it in his pocket. And that's really the story. What became of it, we don't know. What became of that man or that woman, we don't know. All we know is the story of the giving and the receiving and then the giving on. But there are so many levels and layers and dimensions to the story, because when you give and it's a sacrifice to give, then the giving is so much more powerful. And it forces the universe to give on. And because we are all interconnected, because every being is deeply interconnected, when one gives selflessly in that way, and it is of a sacrificial nature, then it forces, that is the right word, it forces the current of the universe to go on giving. It creates a chain reaction. And it means that one person, the next person has to give, and another person has to give more, and another person has to give more, and another person has to give more. And so the chain continues because of the way we are all interconnected through these lines, these fractal lines. So the power of a tiny act of deep kindness is incalculable. You don't know what forces that offering truly brought into the world, into the universe. because it's still happening. You know, the result of that giving is still going on. The echo, the ripples are still passing through the ocean of that giving, of that selfless sacrifice. So think about this when you give, or when you consider giving. You know, for many of us, giving a dollar here and there is, it's good, it's nice, but it's not a sacrifice. Whereas if, for example, some money came into you, it doesn't be money either, it's time, it's many things. I'm using money as an example. It's a very good example of money, because it symbolizes our energy, our time. And let's say some money came into your life, £3,000, dollars, whatever. And you think, great, wonderful, it's a surprise. We're going to spend that on remodeling part of our house, and then, you know, opening up that, you know, enjoying, you know, our lives more through that. And it's a wonderful thing to do. But if you then say, well, I'm going to forego that, and I'm going to give that money to this place over here, or to this person, you know, and you know that that is a channel where that money will be used really well, then you've made a sacrifice. And it's different, because you sacrificed one of your desires for a selfless urge, a gesture of love, of kindness, to help another or others. And that sacrifice, it's, you know, it can be small, it can be big, it can be many ways, but it's the sacrifice that carries the charge, that creates the karmic chain reaction. And the ripples then come back to you. How can they not? They go out and they come back. And they cleanse the karma in your nature. You know, they cleanse your karma. You know, so this is why love and service, divine service, is one of the greatest spiritual paths. Because, you know, one act like that is worth weeks, months perhaps, of meditation. You know, of pure insight meditation. Perhaps more. You know, in terms of what it transmutes inside us, the forgetting. And it allows us to remember more. And we feel the lift of that grace through our giving to another human, or another being, or another creature, or a plant, even the smallest of things. The rescuing of an insect, the keeping propagation of something living, alive. You know, something tiny. The power of that is incalculable. It's incalculable. You know, you can't compare it to anything that happens on the political stage, you know, of humanity. It's the tiniest acts, sometimes, that carry the greatest consequences, far beyond our lives, far beyond our understanding. There's a great beauty in that. Philos anthropos, the love of humanity. It doesn't just mean one human loving another. It's the love that is in humanity. The loving heart of humanity, allowed to express itself, allowed to be free. So think about this as you go around your life and you look at those less fortunate than you, those beings, any beings. Consider it.